Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all of our witnesses for being here today. Mr. Powell and Mr. Gillen, my district boasts some of the most capable innovators in the world. It also has areas that still face gaps in connectivity. How can technologies using licensed and unlicensed spectrum both supercharge our existing industries and generate growth in more rural areas? Whichever one of you would like to go first.
Thank you for the question. Well, the power of wireless, particularly full power 5G wireless, gives you the opportunity to push out broadband other places. So Rappahannock County, Virginia, rural Virginia, there's no terrestrial fiber cable services right now. Because of bid-ban auctions you've made possible, there is now 5G home service available. So roughly 20% of those new customers had never had broadband before, because that's an ability to scale and move quickly. So I offer, it's one of the places that you can push out beyond where we are today.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr.
I think
Powell?
one of the challenges in rural is always infrastructure. One of the challenges the wireless companies have is in order to serve those communities effectively, you have to densify the network. You have to go out there and spend the money to put up towers to concentrate. That's expensive. It's a big capital expense for them, and so that's been slow. If you look at shared spectrum on CBRS, it covers 70% of all unserved rural areas. That's why you're seeing projects that allow communities to take matters into their own hands. And in your own state, CBR spectrum is being used at Newark International Airport without having to await the use from a commercial service.
Thank you. Ms. Rinaldo, can you speak to the effect that adoption of Open RAN technologies could have on our supply chain and strengthening American wireless competitiveness globally? And can you also provide an update on where the development and deployment of these technologies now stand?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest concerns is that we wake up one day and there's only one vendor for the entire world. So the concept of Open RAN, I believe, has been so successful because we've gone from a handful of vendors now to hundreds. A lot here in the United States, but also Japan, Taiwan, and Europe. So since we launched as a coalition, there are now over 100 global deployments. I mentioned TELUS earlier. TELUS, they're going to deploy by 100% by 2029. Viettel in Vietnam is deploying using Qualcomm and DeepSig to ORPC members. Palau, a small island in the South Pacific, they just put out an RFP, and the number of proposals that they received were astonishing because the competitiveness of Open RAN does allow more vendors to participate in the market. So it's really a win-win.
Thank you. And then Mr. Powell and Mr. Gillen, can you both speak to how licensed and unlicensed spectrum are used in emergency response in cooperation with first responders, and what needs to be done to make sure that spectrum is used as effectively as possible to keep Americans safe in the event of an emergency or a disaster?
I think both are critical. I want to say that. I've been involved in these situations. I'll give you an example. Just in the LA fire situation, Charter was able to open 35,000 Wi-Fi hotspots immediately to try to improve communications when other infrastructure had been devastated. You know, that's really important to be able to use every technological resource to get a network up quickly in these communities, often ones that are suffering without power, as well as communications infrastructure.
Thank you. Mr. Gillen?
I agree with the chair. This is a disaster. We all need to be working together. All these technologies can complement each other. In terms of wireless, we're proud that 80% of 911 calls are made on a smartphone today, and the amount that we've invested to make sure that that first responders can find you when you make that call with location accuracy, and the power of wireless emergency alerts to be an amplifier to voice. Mr. Lewis talked about how far we've come in that program. And then in terms of the disaster recovery themselves, the technologies that we're leveraging now, that there's cows and colts. We put cell phones on wheels, we put cell phones on trucks to go into an area to immediately have coverage, because it's so critical. You've lost everything, you need that connectivity. And so we take that responsibility very seriously. And there's a situation that, we can disagree on a lot of things when it comes to disaster relief. We all come together to serve customers.
Thank you to all of our witnesses, and I'll you back.